Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we have a fun video for you. We're headed in the direction of fall, so we are going to be talking about perfect pairings for your landscape. Yes, we are going to take the guesswork out of how you can create a beautiful, stunning landscape in your garden, the front of your house, wherever the need may be. We have got several combos for you today that we are going to share with you. And then we're going to save the best for last, in my opinion, because I am going to share with you my absolute favorite pairing of my favorite plants. If you know me, you can probably guess a couple that are going to be in there. So we're going to share that with you as well. Before we get started, right quick, online, we have 2 new specials for you this week. If you will go to gardeningwithcreekside.com and look, we have 2 new perennials that we are going to be cutting at 50% off for this week. We have Midnight Masquerade Penstemon. This is a great perennial. For me, it's a semi-evergreen. So even in the wintertime, I still have my nice little clump of foliage. This is going to be an early spring bloomer, early to mid-spring bloomer. Really gorgeous tall spikes of purple flowers that your pollinators go nuts over. If you have hummingbirds at the time, they love it as well. So Midnight Masquerade Penstemon, easy, like low maintenance, high performing perennial. It will be on sale for 50% off. Also, we have a Gnophopia. Yes, Gnophophias, red hot pokers. We have the Pyromania hot and cold. It too is 50% off. Now, the hot and cold is really cool because it has this beautiful ombre effect. As the flower blooms, the new buds will be a beautiful orange, and then the lower ones, the older ones, will be a nice soft yellow. You have a gorgeous kind of that color transition in the plant. It too, Gnophophias for me here in Zone 8A are a semi-evergreen. In fact, people come to the nursery and they're like, what is that grass that is blooming? Because it does remind you of a grass, but it is not, it is a Gnophopia. So, hot and cold, 50% off, and Midnight Masquerade. No coupon code is needed, just simply go, we have already reduced the price, add them to your cart and enjoy. So we will get those shipped out to you as soon as possible so that you can add them to your garden. So, here we go, my friends, the perfect pairings for your landscape. We're gonna have a lot of fun doing this. Now, first one, it's just simple. It is right here. When we're talking about a landscape, we are looking for year-round interest. We want something that is going to be evergreen, something that is maybe gonna be deciduous but gives you loads of color. Here we have really fun combo, Forever Goldie Arborvitae. Y'all, this is a great arborvitae. Here in the South, we have a problem because of our heat and humidity keeping chartreuse evergreens. So many times they will burn. Forever Goldie is going to be one that can handle it. I've had it at the chicken coop for over a year in the full sun, and she is doing wonderful. So you have this great complete golden, loves the sun, chartreuse color. It stays in evergreen. You're going to have red stems that come in the winter and the fall. And this is going to be hardy in zones 5 to 8. And it is just going to be at the at its height, it's going to be, quote, on the relatively smaller side. So it's not going to overtake you. I would say somewhere in that like 8-foot range by maybe 3 feet wide here in the South. Beautiful. You can also use these in containers. If you notice our last video, I think it was our last video, I put these in the containers on the patio. So container plant and or landscape, great evergreen. Then next, we're going to go to a Cryptomeria. This is our Dragon Prince. This is a really cool textured evergreen. Again, it is an evergreen and it is not pokey. Y'all, I don't like evergreens that hurt when I touch them. Neither one of these are going to poke you, but this is going to be a nice kind of a rounded shape to it. You don't really have to prune it. It naturally grows this way as an evergreen. Cryptomerias will take on a little bit of a bronze, slight bronze hue to them in the wintertime. Now, I'm a fan of huge color. You can have color without flowers, believe it or not. So we have 2 barberries here. These are from Proven Winners. These are the Sunjoys. You have Sunjoy Citrus, and then you have Sunjoy Neo. How you want to display these are going to be completely up to you. What I would do is probably window pane them, meaning citrus is going to be a little bit bigger. I would put it more just slightly to the back. So when we say window pane, literally what we mean is that we go ahead, there was a bug on there. Something started crawling on me. So you're going to spread them out, and then you're going to put one in front of it like that. So you alternate, you do 2 rows and you alternate them back and forth. Your barberries are deciduous, but that is why we pair them with your evergreens. So for here in the South, my gosh, 8 months out of the year at least, you're gonna have this gorgeous color. In the wintertime, yes, they're deciduous, but they're also deer resistant because they will have little tiny little thorns on them. So you can keep them pruned however you want to. This is going to give you great big impact, minimal effort. The only thing you're gonna have to do to this is your barberries in late winter, give them a little haircut. Nothing else needs a haircut. So if you're like, I want a pretty landscape, Jenny, but I really don't want to be out there all the time, then this is your perfect pairing right here. Now what we're gonna do is head up to the greenhouse because we have some displays up here. When you come visit, as you walk by, you're going to see them. So you can, with a perfect pairing in the landscape, you really can do trees, you can do shrubs, you can do perennials. All of those are going to be great additions. And if you want to pop in your annuals, you certainly can do that, but not everybody wants to do annuals every year. Here we have, oh, gorgeous color. Let's say you need some privacy. You love your neighbors. Your neighbors are great, but you need some privacy between you and your neighbors. Then this is going to be the perfect pairing for you. We have got North Pole arborvitaes. These are going to be relatively fast growers. We've had ours in the landscape for 2 years and they have probably grown, I would say at least like 3 feet. So they are really nice, fast growers. We need that for our privacy. However, they're not going to be giant, right? We don't want these mammoth trees. So a North Pole, again, low maintenance. I've never pruned mine, not one time. These are going to be hardy in zones 3 to 8. At maturity, 10 to 15 feet tall, but only 3 to 5 wide. Now, as far as an arborvitae goes, then that is going to be a really nice size. You get a good presence, but it's not overwhelming. So that is the North Poles. I'm telling you, y'all, I've never had bugs bother mine. I don't have bagworms on mine. You just average water needs, you know, that first year, go ahead and watch them. This is why we want to plant these plants now, going into the fall, because temperatures go down, more consistent rain, less work on you, and the plants can get really well adjusted to their landscape. Next, gorgeous loropetalum. Here we have this beautiful loropetalum. Of course, loropetalums are going to be an evergreen. We love that. They have that nice deep purple foliage. Notice with this pairing how much of the contrast we have. Now with this loropetalum, it's going to be of a medium size, right? In that like 4 to 6 foot range. It's not going to be overwhelming. It's not going to overtake your landscape. And you've got this great, we call it evergreen. It's ever purple, an ever purple foliage to it. And then of course, our loropetalums are also known as Chinese French flowers because in late winter going into spring, they put on this gorgeous display of hot pink fringe flowers. It is stunning. You know I'm a fan of grasses, right? Perennial grasses. So here we have Apache rose. Apache rose, let me grab my tag so I can give you all the specs on it. So Apache rose is going to be about 4 feet tall. This is again from our friends at Proven Winners. This is a panicum. Panicums do really well in the South. They are reliably come back. They can handle the heat and the humidity. They are just a great grass. Apache rose is going to be that 4 feet tall, and you can see here in the late summer, there are little plumes. It gets the Apache rose because those plumes will have a pink hue to it. It is nice and columnar, but it's not going to be overtaking the landscape. These are going to be hardy in zones 4 to 9, very, very adaptable. The only maintenance that you have to do on your Apache roses as we come out of winter, before the plants start to wake up, you're going to gather it up like a ponytail and you're going to cut it back. That is the only maintenance you're going to have to do on that grass. Last but certainly not least, a big, huge pop of color is we have the spirea. This is double play candy corn. Candy corn is wildly popular, and rightly so, because of its gorgeous color. This is going to be your one deciduous shrub in here. So in the wintertime, while you're going to have the form, you're not going to have the color, but you're going to have color and interest from your other three. Your spireas are going to go more on your front because they have a nice mounded habit to them, roughly a 3x3. This is beautiful color, beautiful raspberry kind of red flowers on it. Lovely. Again, only maintenance, because I know when you have a perfect pairing, you're trying to think, what is my maintenance, Jenny? What do I have to do to this to maintain it? The only thing you're going to do is when you cut back your grass, you're going to take a hedge trimmer or clippers and you're going to give it a great cut into a nice ball shape and then walk away. There you go. It will flush out and be beautiful. So if you need privacy but some interest between you and your neighbors, then this is going to be a great option for you as well. Coming on down here, we have a beautiful, this is really fun. Again, combination of, you want some evergreens, you want some interest, but you want to attract pollinators to your garden. Well, here we go. We have got the new Yardline Viburnum from our friends at Proven Winners, brand new on the market. And y'all, being around other folks in the horticultural world, they are very interested in this plant because it is so unique. This is going to be a columnar viburnum, but look how big the leaves are. Beautiful evergreen glossy leaves, nice size to it. This is going to be a relatively fast grower. This is what's going to give you privacy and year-round interest, hardy in zones 7 to 9. So it is going to be a southern plant, which if you're shopping here at the nursery, perfect for you. 6 to 12 tall, 3 to 4 wide. Now, depending on where you have it, the conditions, that's where you get that variation between a 6 foot or 12 feet. If you want to keep it at 6 feet, you absolutely can do that. If you want to let it go, then you can do that as well. So you've got the Yardline Viburnum. You want pollinators in your garden. You want flowers. Here we go. One of the most popular butterfly bushes, Pugster Blue. Pugsters are going to be that petite buddleia, right? So they're going to be in that, basically that 3x3. Pugster Blue is probably, I would say, one of the most popular ones because it has these gorgeous deep blue, almost like a purple flower on them. And so they're really nice and tight and compact, but they have beautiful flowers that your butterflies go crazy over. So I want you to come in here, Jer, and I want you to show how gorgeous the flowers are. Nice and tight. Now, we don't have any butterflies on it yet today because it is early in the morning and I think our little friends are still asleep, but they will be covering these pugsters. They will also be all over the echinacea. Look at this gorgeous echinacea. Is it not absolutely stunning? This is going to be the Sombrero series. I love the Sombrero series. This is Adobe Orange. Now, echinaceas, of course, great native perennial. They love the heat. They love the intense humidity that we have here in the South that we can offer them. They're going to be hardy in zones 4 to 9, and this is going to be about 18 to 20 inches tall. Gorgeous flowers on them. You got that bright, bright orange. Now, with your echinaceas, once they finish blooming, just leave it. Your finches absolutely love to come and feed on the heads. Now we've got evergreen, we've got your butterfly bush that's semi-deciduous. Of course, your echinacea, you're going to have just a little low mound in the wintertime. We need some more interest. So here we go. We have the fire chief. This is a thuja. Again, this is a nice soft. It is not pokey. It is not aggressive. There you go. Now, as a thuja, you can see that it is already starting to take on a little bit of that bronze copper look to it. In the wintertime, it will completely bronze over. It is not dead. If it were dead, this would all come off and it would be very brittle. This is what it does. The plant changes color. When the summertime comes and it's nice and bright and long days and tons of sunshine, it will get gorgeous green and just the tips will have a little bit of the color. Hence its name, Fire Chief, and it gets to be about a 3x3. If you want to shape it up, you can, but you certainly don't have to. You can absolutely just let it go and form this beautiful mound. All right, so we've done a lot of sun perfect pairings. Let's come in here to the greenhouse and look at some shade perfect pairings. And then we're gonna head on down and look at my favorite combo. Cannot wait to share that with you. All right, you know that I'm a huge fan of shade gardens. I don't have very many shade gardens, hence why I love them so much. Now, the shade garden can be a little bit problematic for some, right? Because you need an evergreen interest in there, because sometimes in the shade garden, we don't have a lot of evergreen options. Well, let me introduce you to Alyssiums, right? So we actually have 3 that you get to choose from. We have Orion, that is really cool. Look at the flowers on this, y'all. Look how cool that little flower is. I don't even know, it's not even a star. It's just this like little burst of white. Very cool. And these are all going to be evergreen. Your Alyssiums are evergreen. Then we have the beautiful pink frost. I love this. I did add it to one of my little shade gardens that I do have. A beautiful variegated foliage on it. You can see the lighter is the new growth, but as it matures, look down in there, and you've got these creamy edges on this plant. This is gonna be roughly in that like 4-foot range. If you want a big pop of color, because a lot of times in the shade garden, we need pops of color. Florida Sunshine, still an Alyssium. Alyssiums tend to be more deer resistant because they are a type of anise. So when you crush the foliage or the leaves, it has a licorice smell. So your deers do not like that. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. We also have my ever lovely, I love this fern, y'all. This is the autumn, an autumn fern. This is Brilliance. Another great evergreen option for the shade garden. It is called Brilliance because the new foliage has this red bronze look to it. You can see all these new fronds that are opening up. As they mature, of course, they turn a nice dark green. Beautiful, evergreen, tough as nails plant. Shade gardens can be problematic because obviously if you have shade, that means you have trees and it can tend to be dry. These guys do great. They are wonderful, wonderful additions to your shade garden. Shade gardens also sometimes struggle because you don't get flowers. We want flowers in the shade garden. Well, let me introduce you to camellias. Camellias, classic southern shrub. These are going to be japonicas. Japonicas bloom from roughly, depending on where you are, January through March. This is Professor Sargent. Professor Sargent is a classic, like industry standard camellia. Gorgeous red flowers, y'all. So you can have a beautiful evergreen, give a nice presence. It can give you some privacy if you need it in your shade garden. But then in the winter, when we're all desperate for some flowers and some pops of color, then these japonicas really start to shine and they're gorgeous. Can you imagine this deep dark green red flowers against this Florida sunshine? Would that not be gorgeous? Stunning, absolutely stunning. Lots of options. All right, now let's head on down, because not only am I going to share with you my favorite pairing, but we've got one more down here in the shrub lot. So if you need help with your landscape, we would absolutely love to help you. I know that, excuse me, I know that for the new gardener or somebody that's maybe new to the Southeast, maybe you've moved here from Florida, maybe you've moved here from New York and you're not sure how to deal with the climate and the red clay soil here in North Carolina. We would love to help you. So you can come to the nursery Wednesday through Saturday. We ask that you bring pictures of your space, different angles. Give me your whole house, give me this certain bed, give me the different angles so we can really understand what the space looks like. Give me the rough measurements. Is it 2 feet deep or is it 10 feet deep? Is it 5 feet wide or 15 feet wide? And then kind of know your sun. Do you get a hot, intense afternoon sun, or do you get filtered sun? Just kind of keep an eye on that and let us know, because that will really help us to understand how best to help you in the garden. All right, here we go. Come on over here, my friends. Now, if you know Jenny, you probably know what my favorite hydrangea is. You probably know what my favorite flower is of all time? Yes, so we have a very fun pairing. This is gonna be for a sun garden, right? So you're gonna have a beautiful combination of evergreen, you're gonna have flowers, you're gonna have fragrance, you're gonna attract your pollinators to your garden. So what we're going to do is, here in the back, you're going to have a loropetalum, but not just any loropetalum. You're going to have this gorgeous, really unique jazz hands variegated loropetalum. Look at the color, y'all. There's nothing wrong with this plant. This is how it's supposed to be. You get pinks, you get creams, you get greens, gorgeous color. Now, your jazz hands variegated is hardy in zones 7B to 9, definitely a southern shrub, right? 4 to 6 tall, 4 wide. So this is gonna be your backdrop, your evergreen backdrop. So it's not gonna be too aggressive, it's not gonna be too obtrusive in your garden, but you're gonna have a lovely evergreen backdrop. Next, now this is where you can kind of play with it a little bit. Probably personally, I would then go with my favorite hydrangea, Little Lime Punch. Y'all, I tell you what, Megan Matai from Spring Meadow Nursery knocked it out of the ballpark when she bred this plant. This is definitely my favorite hydrangea, and you can see, look at these beautiful, nice, tight, strong stems on this plant. Little Lime Punch is going to be a panicle hydrangea, meaning that it blooms on new wood. You're guaranteed to have flowers every single year, and it loves the sun. It drinks the sun. You're going to start out with like a nice creamy white bloom on it, nice huge heads, gorgeous color, and then depending on where you are, it will turn anywhere from like a blush pink. If you are in more of a northern climate, you're gonna get a deep, intense, hot pink on it. Y'all, this plant, we have it in the signature garden, we have it at our house. It is great. It has never flopped at all. Strong, tight habit on it. This is gonna be, depends on how you wanna keep it, 3 to 5 tall and wide, okay? So I would do the loropetalums, then I would do your hydrangeas. They are deciduous, right? So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna then come in front of your hydrangeas with, yes, Jenny's favorite flower of all time, a gardenia. So this is pillow talk, and pillow talk is another great evergreen shrub, just iconic with the South. I love pillow talk because it's gonna be a little bit shorter, right? It's gonna be in that 3 to 4 tall and wide. You get a double bloom, which I'm a gardenia snob. I love a double bloom. And y'all, it smells delicious. If you're familiar with gardenias, it has the classic gardenia fragrance. I'm gonna leave this gardenia in my ear all day, and I'm gonna have that beautiful fragrance all day with me. Beautiful evergreen, loves the sun. So we go evergreen, deciduous, evergreen, and then my favorite spirea. This is double play doozy. Double play doozy is very hardy, reliable bloomer. You get these beautiful repeat blooms of these raspberry flowers on it, and it is sterile. So that's really important. You're not gonna have little spireas all over the place. And because it is sterile, that's what makes it be a rebloomer, because the plant is trying to always, it thinks it needs to produce something, right? It thinks it needs to produce seeds. Well, it can't produce seeds, so it then produces the flowers. In the wintertime, like with the candy corn, give it one good haircut, and then there you go. Lots of blooms throughout the season. And then for our early interest, we've got a lovely Nepeta, cat's pajamas. Cat's pajamas is a perennial, a catmint that is a nice low habit on it. So this is gonna go in the front of the flower bed. This is gonna be your first thing that blooms, and your pollinators, your honeybees are going to thank you, because it does these little tiny light blue lavender flowers on it. It will be covered in honeybees. You can give it a little trim at the end of winter going into spring, but it's only gonna max out about that 12 to 14 inches with the blooms, and it just has this nice matte kind of habit in the front of the landscape. So not only do you get early spring flowers, you are helping your pollinators, feeding them, and giving you a gorgeous landscape through the rest of the season with fragrant, beautiful flowers. So that is definitely probably without a doubt, my favorite combo, because we've got all the great shrubs right there. All right, my friends. So again, we'd love to help you. If you need some help in your landscape, that is what we do. That is what we specialize in. And so we would love to see you. As always, we hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Don't forget about the online specials. We'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, friends.